In this video, I'll be showing you guys 10 settings you must use in GTA Online. I will be going through 10 of the most important settings in my opinion, and these 10 settings I would probably recommend that you change or at least mess around with. For the most part, these settings will mainly apply to consoles, for example the Xbox Series X and S and the PlayStation 5. However, some of these settings will also be available on PC and possibly even on the old gen consoles. So guys, without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into this video. And to start things off, we will be heading to the display settings, specifically the graphics mode. Now unfortunately this setting will only be available for you guys if you play on the next gen consoles, but this specific setting will be super important and altogether it will actually help you get some more FPS. Now I play on the Xbox Series S console, so I only have two settings. The two settings that I have will be fidelity and performance mode. But if you guys play on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X, you will have some more options. I believe there is a ray tracing option. What you can do is just switch between different modes, press the pause button and then just see if it makes a difference. Now for me on the Xbox Series S, the performance mode is by far the best one for me. You will instantly notice an FPS performance boost compared to just the fidelity mode. So I would probably go with something similar. I believe there is a performance ray tracing mode on the other next gen consoles, and this will probably be the most beneficial to you as well. But now guys, moving down to another setting that you must use or at least try out, we have the two different weapon targets. You can also find this in the display tab just like the setting before, and you can choose between the complex target or the simple target. Now like many other settings, these type of things come down to personal preference. For me, I prefer having a sort of crosshair when using weapons, so I prefer to go with the complex setting. But if you guys just prefer a simple dot, which is still pretty good, you can set this setting to the simple option. If you decide to go with the simple option, you can also change the simple reticle size as well, which will probably help you stay on target. Another setting that I would recommend that you change to your preference will also be in the display tab. This setting will be the measurement system. There is also two options for the measurement system. We have the imperial system and also the metric system. You guys will notice when I change this and then add a waypoint on the map, the game will tell me in the bottom left hand corner of the screen how many kilometers I am away from the waypoint. And then if I change it to the imperial setting, it will tell me in miles instead. So if you guys were probably wondering why you were stuck in a certain system like this is how you would change this. It's honestly super simple and probably overlooked most of the time. For the number 7 setting I would change, we have a specific setting in the notifications tab. All the way at the bottom of the notifications tab, you will see a setting named message frequency. If you guys get spammed with loads of messages in GTA Online, for example from Simeon, if you guys change this to 1 hour message frequency, you will notice a dramatic difference in how often Simeon will text you. And other NPCs such as LJT, I know that he can be quite annoying to deal with when you guys do not fill a business. You can also set this to no delay as well if you guys like the messages. Sometimes this can really help you. But now moving down to the next setting, we do have some camera settings that you probably want to change. This specific setting will be the first person field of view on foot. Now to really test this setting, if you guys go into first person first and then go back into the settings and up the field of view on foot, you guys will notice in the background the field of view will change. Now for the most part, I would probably set this to all the way full on this bar. This will just allow you to see more things around you in first person. This setting can be especially useful in PvP situations, even in different missions as well. And honestly, even with this setting completely maxed out, you will not really notice a FPS decrease or anything. However, if you guys do have this setting on the old gen consoles, you might expect a performance decrease. I'm honestly not sure. I have not tested this. So if you guys get around to testing that on the old gen consoles, let me know how that goes in the comments down below. Also in the camera settings, if you want to, you can copy my settings here. This is what I currently use. Probably the best second setting I would change is the vehicle camera height. I prefer this setting being on high instead of low. This will just allow me to see more things when driving around the city, but even with the low setting, I still think that is fine. Just like before, this really comes down to your personal preference. Now guys, for a setting that you definitely want to make sure is turned on, we do have the allow movement when zoomed. You can find this setting in the controls tab. This setting is very self-explanatory. When you use a sniper or the marksman rifle with a scope, having this setting turned on will just allow you to move around, which of course is super useful in PvP situations. Pretty much everyone will have this setting turned on. If you have this setting turned off, you will be missing out a lot. Onto the fourth setting that I would definitely recommend that you guys change and adjust to your personal preference. We have some sensitivities and dead zones. All of these settings will have a huge effect on your gameplay. Just simple things, for example, aiming, even just looking around. This will be where you guys can change this. Now for the sensitivities, I would suggest that you just mess around with these. Everyone likes different sensitivities. If you want to, you can just copy my settings here. And to talk about the dead zone settings, you will only have two of these settings. One is for the third person look dead zone and the other is for the first person dead zone. If you guys experience some stick drift, I would recommend changing this and upping the value on both of these. But if you guys have a newer controller or maybe a controller that you have not really used much, you can lower this setting and get a faster sort of response time when looking around and aiming. If you want to test if you have stick drift on your controller, what you can do is just slightly tap both of your sticks, and if they continue moving when you are not touching the controller, you can just up the dead zones and hopefully that will fix it. The next setting that I suggest you try out will be the control types. Now for me personally, I really like the standard FPS 2 control type, and I like to use this for the third person and first person mode. When you change the control type, if you guys look at this controller, you can see which buttons will change. The reason I really like the standard FPS 2 is because it changes your sprint button and makes it the bumper button instead. And this will just allow you to keep your right thumb on your thumbstick instead of taking it off and spamming the X or A button. This will also make your A button or X button the roll button when aiming down your sights. I would suggest just trying this, and if you don't like it, you can always just change back. You never know, you might even like some of the other control types as well, so give it a test and see what you prefer most. And now guys, moving over to the second to last setting. This setting will be super important. This setting will be the targeting mode. You can find the targeting mode in the controls section. However, you will not be able to change this directly in GTA Online. The main reason you cannot change this in GTA Online sessions is because GTA Online sessions are separated by their targeting mode. So to change this setting, you would have to go into story mode. However, there is a much faster way to do this, especially if you guys are starting from GTA Online. All you have to do is press the pause button, go over to the online tab, and then load into the Rockstar Creator. This will take you roughly under a minute, and once the Rockstar Creator eventually loads in, you can now press the pause button and go over to the settings tab. In this tab, you can go back to the controls section, and you will be able to change your targeting mode. When I play on console, I just prefer using the assisted aim full. I found this super useful in different missions and even in PvP sometimes, but you can also use the free aim mode as well. There is also a free aim assisted mode, so it's not completely assisted aim full, and it's not just free aim. There will be a little bit of assistance when aiming. Not many people know this, but if you guys just select free aim and then play in some missions, you will actually get an RP boost if you guys are killing NPCs, for example, which honestly makes sense because free aim is obviously a lot harder than assisted aim full. This will be great to maximize the amount of RP you can get. And last but not least guys, for the final setting, we do have a newer setting. I believe out of all of the settings so far, this is the newest one, or the most recent addition. We have the hold to sprint setting. If you played GTA Online before Rockstar implemented this setting, you will probably remember how annoying it was just to keep spamming the sprint button, or even having to go into first person every time you want to sprint somewhere and get somewhere fast. With this setting, if you just change it to hold to sprint, it is essentially just mimicking the first person in how you guys can sprint with that. Another thing to keep in mind with this setting is that you will not really be able to walk. Every time you guys push your stick forward without pressing the sprint button, your character will just burst into a jog instead. And honestly, this can be annoying as well sometimes, but for the most part, I would say this is probably worth changing. You can always go back into this setting and change it back if you want to. But yeah guys, that would be 10 settings you must use or at least try out in GTA Online. In my opinion, I think these settings will really help you out. If you guys have any suggestions on what settings I probably missed in this video, make sure that you leave a comment down below and let me know. I definitely missed out on some audio settings, but for the most part, these audio settings are very basic. But anyways guys, if you went on to enjoy this video or found it useful in any way, shape or form, make sure to leave a like. I really appreciate your support. And if you are new here, subscribe and hit that bell icon to never miss a video. Finally guys, stay safe, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.